Welcome to Conversations from Stritch. Today is Thursday, February 19th. I'm Dr. David Livingston, president of Lewis University, and I'm joined by Dr. Christopher Sint, our provost. Yesterday was Ash Wednesday, which marks the beginning of Lent for those of us in the Christian tradition. It's a season of retreat, spiritual preparation for Easter, and it gives us time to reflect, to think about all of the ways in which we can better ourselves and be a greater presence in our community, making the kingdom of God present. Yesterday was also the start of Ramadan, which is the Islamic holy month of fasting, prayer, and reflection, observed from dawn to sunset each day. So it is a moment for the global community to really reflect on how we can be better to each other. And I think that is a great opportunity for us as a campus as well. Lewis University was recently alerted that the U.S. General Services Administration is leasing office space within the building where we operate our Oak Brook location. Some of you have seen this on social media or on traditional media. And of course, we sent out a letter last week about this. It also involves not just that GSA, which is the one that leases all the property, but the kind of, for lack of a better word, the subtenant is U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement, or ICE, which is utilizing that space for administrative offices, for their administrative work. Lewis is one of several tenants in the property. We do not have control over leasing decisions. We do not own the building, and we cannot determine what the other occupants are in the building. So as I said, in light of some of the social media attention and some things that were in social media about potential protests at the site, community concerns that we heard, and our own concerns, it doesn't align with the university concerns over making sure that employees and students are safe, that they feel comfortable in terms of learning. We took precautionary steps in order to allow for that time to figure out what to do in terms of the next steps. And as a result, we canceled all in-person activities for the week and held them in an online format when possible. That decision goes through this coming Saturday when our classes and activities are done, and we will make announcements later this afternoon or early tomorrow morning about next week. It is one of several adjustments that we've made, and again, I want to re-emphasize that the primary thing is focusing on the safety of students, faculty, and staff, and to create an environment in which learning is easy and comfortable for our students. We have, on top of communicating with the whole community, we've communicated directly with students and faculty that use the building on a daily basis. We've been in communication with the property managers. We've been in communication with the local Oak Brook Police Department, and we've had meetings with the Immigration Enforcement Agency representatives that are on site. We will continue to provide updates to the community, and we will, as I said, make some decisions about next week, because the last communication you received was about just the end of this week in terms of classroom. But long-term and short-term decisions in terms of the future of the site, we will be continuing to communicate about that, and we'll let people know about next week, either this afternoon or tomorrow. I do want to just emphasize that everything that I'm talking about is consistent with our Catholic and Lasallian mission, in which we want a respectful, supportive, and inclusive environment for all members of our community, and to making sure that they feel comfortable in both learning and delivering whatever they're doing for our students. So whether that's helping people register for classes or teaching them, we want our employees to feel safe and comfortable, and our students as well. Our Board of Trustees met on Monday. It was a really important meeting for the board. We spent significant time talking about the presidential candidates, and the board went into executive session to talk about the decision about who the next president is. We also talked about the pension program. We've had multiple sessions with the community about that, and we're making decisions that we will communicate soon about the first steps in terms of addressing the pension. There will be a separate communication, probably, as I've said to several groups of people, hiring a new president actually requires negotiating a contract. So even once the decision is made, there's a need to reach out to the candidate, and then they have to go back and forth, and then there has to be a communication plan set up, and then the actual announcement. So my sense is the announcement will be the end of next week or the beginning of the following week. So sometime very late February or early March that we'll have an announcement. And that announcement will come from the board chair to the community. The other things that were on the agenda for the Board of Trustees Committee were the capital expenditure budget for next fiscal year. We always do that now so we can start projects as soon as the ground thaws. So that was approved, as well as the launching of a certified nursing assistant program. So it was a very busy agenda for the board, but to be honest, a really exciting time, but some significantly consequential decisions were made by the board, and that's important. The trustees do have a fiduciary responsibility to the institution, and they have a strategic responsibility to the institution, and one of the biggest things that they do is to choose a president. So really important meeting for the board. So Chris, it's lots of exciting things going on campus, and in addition to all these big, weighty things.
Really big things. And I was just thinking while I was just remembering part of the board meeting that I attended on Monday also included a discussion of the Oak Brook situation. Yes. So just to remind people that they do have this real responsibility for the university's welfare and take that responsibility really seriously. So they've been engaged in our decision making about Oak Brook as well. I think it was a 5.5-hour meeting on Monday. It was a big day. But there's all kinds of other great things going on and interesting things going on. A couple of weeks ago on the show, we featured our work on the development of the 2026-2029 strategic plan process, and that was launched back at convocation and has continued with lots of different groups giving feedback throughout the year. We're now at the stage where we have assigned working groups and those have been formed in specific focus areas. We call them pillars, and we need feedback again from the larger Lewis community about the work that's beginning to take shape in those groups. So we wanted to remind people, there have been a couple of messages about this going out to the community and during this busy time. We just wanted to remind people to join us for a series of interactive discussions during the regularly scheduled community hours over the next several weeks to gather insights, ideas, and feedback. Every session will spotlight, each week we'll spotlight a particular strategic pillar and provide an open forum for discussion. So sessions will be both hybrid and in person in the Academic Science Building in AS 150, again during community hour 12 to 1, and they're listed here on your screen. So beginning next week, high performance culture, followed by future ready learning on March 4th, inclusive impact on March 11th, strategic growth also on March 11th, and thriving innovation on March 18th. These sessions are just really more than presentations. They're really meant to be conversation pieces around some of the goals and themes in these areas. So they're opportunities for members of the community to strengthen the ideas in the plan and refine the path forward. We'll also be scheduling an online town hall in March to broaden engagement and ensure every member of our community has an opportunity to contribute. That will be recorded, and we'll do an additional online survey to gather feedback. I think it's clear we really want the community to participate in this strategic plan process that will really inform what we do in the next 3 years, or what we prioritize and invest in the next 3 years. And the date of that town hall will be announced soon. And then I will also continue to give updates as I have all year in the Provost Report, and there is also a strategic plan website that will be linked in the Provost Report if you want to share that with colleagues who might be interested in tracking it. Our next strategic plan hopefully will represent, and I know it will, our shared commitment to bold thinking, mission-centered growth, and purposeful innovation. We'll shape that plan and to position Lewis to thrive academically, culturally, and strategically in the years ahead. So I'm really excited about that kind of taking shape as the spring goes on. So a couple of announcements of things coming up. Philip Lynch Theater's first production of the spring semester is They Promised Her the Moon, a drama based on the life of Geraldine Cobb, a record-holding pilot and one of the first American female astronauts. The show will open this weekend. I think there's a preview for employees tonight. Opens tomorrow night, February 20th, with performances this weekend and all through next weekend. The newest installation of the Wadsworth Family Gallery is now open. It's called Women Artists at the Field and features 3 women artists at Chicago's Field Museum. Their work highlighting art and science, bridging the gap in a new, bold, and imaginative way. The show is up through March 13th, and there will be a reception and gallery talk tonight at 7 p.m. Both the gallery and the reception are always free and open to the public. One more event a little further out, Andrew Hartman, professor of history at the Illinois State University and author of the recently published book Karl Marx in America, will present the spring 2026 Saponiak Endowed Lecture entitled Culture Wars Then and Now. The event will take place on March 26th in the university dining room here on the Romeoville campus. It will examine the culture wars since the 1960s, comparing and contrasting the late 20th century culture wars and our current version. So basically it's been going on for my entire lifetime. These culture wars. It's a nice reminder. This lecture will be a nice reminder that it didn't just start. The legacy of Jim and Mary Claire Saponiak lives on through so many great things at Lewis: scholarships, university enhancements, and the James P. Class of '60 and Mary C. Saponiak lecture series presented by the history department. We're so delighted that we get to do this every year. I always look forward to it, and it's always an amazing learning experience. All right, so you're going to tell us about some closer events coming up.
A few events coming up, but I do want to just comment on that. Well, a couple things that you mentioned. I think the strategic plan is just supremely important. I think you and I, we just keep talking about it, but I just can't emphasize enough how important it is to get feedback. The people on the ground, and actually we're going to be talking with one of those people on the ground today. So everybody from teachers to coaches to trainers to financial aid counselors, they're the ones that are working with students day in and day out. They know what's going on, and if they don't give us feedback about the future, and again, this is not the first feedback. It's a kind of iterative process. We're back in the loop. So we heard from people at the beginning of the year. We've been processing it throughout the year. Now we got these last 6-8 weeks to try to really hone it down. But I just can't emphasize enough how important that is. And the other thing, I am looking forward to that lecture as well. I think we're both kind of students of history. Not only has this polarization been going on since the 60s, this polarization has been going on since, human culture has existed. Right. But it's certainly, this kind of sense of like conflict over what's important is real, and we want to make sure that that students understand that and that our community can appreciate that it's a new way of it being done, but there's things to learn from history. Okay, so things coming up. So tonight, this afternoon, as you see on the screen, we actually have multiple game nights, which I'm really excited about. We were talking to a group yesterday about how valuable it is to have people actually meet in person, ideally without their device, and do games. So I love that we're doing not only a do-it-yourself night, there's also a dessert truck tonight. And this reception, if you want to go see, the art is really impressive. Tomorrow on Friday, men's lacrosse will be hosting Davenport. And then, as Chris mentioned, the first public showing of They Promised Her the Moon. It should be a great play. I always look forward to those. Saturday and Sunday has a matinee performance, but Saturday night, another performance of the play. Sunday Mass, and actually, to be honest, there is a lot that we're not putting on here. The whole time of Lent, there are activities every day. If you want to spend some time reflecting, if you want to, have a little bit of quiet time, the chapel, we were just talking yesterday where Chris and I went to Ash Wednesday, and some of the new stained glass is in there. It's really beautiful. So, going and sitting in the chapel even on an afternoon when the sun is setting and it's coming into those windows, we all need a little time to reflect. Going into next week on Monday, we have speed puzzling. Again, I love these kinds of activities, just getting away from that digital space. I love digital, but it's not everything. And a discussion on human dignity that's happening at 12:30 on Monday. Tuesday, the BSU Cake Day, so you can support them and get a little treat while you're doing it. And then Mother is a film screening that's happening in our theater, kind of movie theater now over in, it's in AS 150. I thought it was here. So a philosophy and film screening of Mother. Next week on Wednesday, again, just a reminder, that's the first time that we're going to be talking about one of the pillars of the plan. But in addition, there's a blood drive, painting options, and then many of these kinds of opportunities. There's just so much to do on Wednesday afternoon between 12 and 1. So you can see some of those things. The photo club, get involved in that. There's a community meal and a talk after that. So just a lot of things going on. It's an exciting week. There's a lot going on campus. We want to make sure that you're aware of everything. You can see some more issues that are going on Wednesday, the 25th next week. So I think with that, we do have some athletic travel that's happening as well. So just want to make sure that even when our teams aren't on campus, watch them on your device, pay attention, kind of cheer them on from afar. We'll be talking more about this, but women's lacrosse is traveling to Concordia, St. Paul. Men's and women's track, their indoor season is getting to the end. So, and then men's volleyball also getting closer to the end of their season. I just got my request for our March Madness tournament in the GLVC for basketball. That's coming up in 2 weeks, so we got 2 weeks left of the basketball season, and of course the spring sports, as we mentioned with women's lacrosse, but also baseball is going down to Tennessee. All of that is going on tomorrow. There's more travel as we go into the weekend. So as we look at weekend travel, I think don't we have another screen on here for travel? Maybe not. All right, no.
There's something on
I know there's stuff on Saturday that's going on, and but I'll let that go because we got so much to talk about today with our guests. So
I think I know there's basketball.
Yeah, I know there's basketball.
Indianapolis and something else.
Yeah,
We'll look it up.
So anyway, you want to introduce our guest, which I'm really excited to have some time, not just to talk about the content, but to meet her.
All right, yeah, we're super excited. I'm excited to introduce our guest. Just always a reminder that you can email a question that could get into the conversation at askus@lewisu.edu there at the bottom of the screen, and we will get it into the conversation live, or we will, if you're watching this on YouTube in a recorded way, you can still use that email address, and we'll just forward the question onto the coach if it's something she can answer. So we're joined today by women's lacrosse coach Mariah Smith. Mariah is in her third season with the women's lacrosse team here, officially being named head coach this past summer. So this is her first season as the head coach. Prior to coaching at Lewis, she was coached women's lacrosse at Aurora University, and we're really looking forward to learning more about you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you
it's
for
great
having
to
me.
be with you. I guess maybe that's something to ask about is like what's what's it like transitioning from being an assistant coach to a head coach, and what are some of the differences?
Yeah, it's definitely a dynamic change for sure. I think the benefit that I had was knowing the girls as opposed to bringing somebody else in. I had the 1.5 years, I guess, experience with them. I was named the interim head last spring.
Right.
So yeah, taking over then, it's kind of been, I guess, close to 1 year now. But yeah, I would say definitely a big adjustment as far as workload goes. But I enjoy it all. Like there's quite a lot to the job. My girls every day are like, "What do you do all day?" And I'm like, "Oh, there's a lot. Don't worry." Obviously, a lot more in the head position too. But this is what I've been wanting to do, so I'm really excited to be in this role.
Great.
So can you talk, I remember, so this is gonna maybe sound like an ignorant question, but I think it's valuable.
Okay.
So when I taught high school up at Loyola Academy 30 years ago, and lacrosse was new to me then. We didn't have it in high school for me. I think most people that are watching know the game a little bit, but I think it's valuable because for me it's not like basketball, right? So could you tell people a little bit about kind of just, and I'm talking about general terms,
Sure.
what is lacrosse? How does it function? You know, what makes it unique as a sport? And maybe you could talk a little bit about how you fell in love with it. Obviously you played it, so maybe talk a little bit
Sure.
about lacrosse.
Okay, so I guess in general terms for lacrosse, you say it's different than basketball. Basketball's my background, and there are a lot of actually translations to the sport, especially on like the defensive side. Of course, lacrosse has all these added rules. Women's lacrosse especially has all these extra rules. They're very confusing. My parents have been watching for over 10 years now, and they still don't understand all the rules. But yeah, I would say the gist of the game with the women's game, there's 12 girls on the field, and you've got your attackers, your midfield, your defense, and you'll play 7-on-7 on either end. And obviously the goal is to score more goals than the other team.
Right.
Yeah.
So it seems like it resembles soccer to me, like in that way
Similar,
that you just
yeah.
described.
It's got some similar things to hockey, some similar
For
things to
sure.
soccer, but one of that unique things that you just mentioned is people are restricted in terms of where they can go on the field. So I wouldn't call it two teams, right, completely,
Right.
but there's these two groups of 7 that can play together.
Yep.
And they can't.
Yeah, just the midfielders can go both ways.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So that you know, as people, as you say, even your parents who've watched it for a
Yeah.
long time, the first time I went and watched and I was standing along a fence line, I just kept on asking people, like, what is that? And
Yeah.
why do they do that?
Is she allowed to do
why
that?
was that a foul? And why was
Right.
that not a foul? And when you
Yeah.
watch the men's and women's game,
It's different.
The women's game is very different in terms
Yeah.
of, I guess I would say, it feels like there's more potential for fouls in the women's game. I don't think that's really true, probably, because everybody knows the rules, but it
Yeah.
feels like there's more limitations.
There's a lot more whistleblowing for the refs in the women's
Yeah.
game. I think men's lacrosse is technically considered a contact sport, and women's is supposedly a non-contact, which obviously
Supposedly. It's a
there's
fine-
still
it's
a
a-
lot of
it's a
contact.
fine line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think that's why it kind of seems like there's more calls for the women's game than the
Yeah.
men's
Is that
also.
is that what you were referring to when you said there were some like really specific differences or
Yeah,
specific
yes.
rules for women's lacrosse?
Yeah, with the women's game also, we have what's called like an 8-meter arc, the 12-meter arc, which is kind of like, it's like the critical scoring area, I guess.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And there's a lot more rules of like how a defender can approach and like what kind of contact a defender can make. So yeah, largely rule based. The men's game is also 10v10, where the women play 12v12. So yeah, some differences here and there.
And just to stay on this a little bit, when women come to the program from high school or club, do they already know these rules, or are they unique to college?
There
lacrosse?
are some that are different with college. For example, defenders can run through the crease in college, and you can't in high school.
Okay.
But I would say the large majority of the rules are
Okay.
very similar.
Cool.
So could you talk a little bit about kind of, again, the team and maybe a little bit about your approach? I don't know if you could give me your, for lack of a better word, your elevator speech to a prospective recruit. Like, why do I want to come to play lacrosse at Lewis as opposed to any number of other schools? What is it that we have here that you think is either unique or that we do it really well?
And maybe just if I could add
Yeah,
to that
please.
before, because you were talking about head coach's job is very different, and time consuming, maybe just explain how recruiting works, because we
Sure.
probably have people watching
Sure.
who don't know that that's a big part of the job.
Yeah, so I would say as far as like the recruiting process goes, and then I think I can touch on that after it'll make sense. Initially, go out and see a kid at a tournament, or they may reach out to tournaments we're already going to, go watch them at the game, talk to them after the tournament's ended, and then kind of from there, we set up phone calls. And so the phone call is just an opportunity to, one, get to know the prospective student athlete a little bit more, but also tell them a little bit about Lewis and like what we have to offer here. And so then if the phone call goes great, if what they're wanting aligns with what we can offer at Lewis, the next step is to get them onto campus. And our campus visits, I've been told by all of our recruits, I do a very thorough job, which they've appreciated. But I'll send them to class with one of my players. We'll do like the campus tour. They can watch practice, meet with admissions, obviously. And then from there, we just continue the conversation. If they'd be a good fit, we keep talking and see what we can do to get them out here. But I'd say like as far as what Lewis has that I really try to sell is the program's been around for 8 seasons. We're in our 8th season now. But I think with my taking over at the start of the year, I really am trying to like rebuild like a solid foundation, putting a lot of emphasis into like the right kind of culture, and like really making this program something that people want to be a part of. Every recruit is saying they want to find a school that feels like family. And I think every coach wants to say theirs feels like family. I've been a part of programs that don't feel that way. And so I played at a program that is that. Like I've stood in multiple of my teammates' weddings, still very good like mentor relationship with my coach. And so I see the benefit of that. And it's really something that I want to create here. And so my, I guess, push to the prospective student athletes I'm talking to is come here if you want to work hard and you want to build something bigger than just yourself. It's a large task. We've got a ton of good athletes on the team currently, a lot of good personalities, which I'm sure some of them are watching right now. Hello, guys. But yeah, I would say like the biggest thing is just really like emphasizing that we are trying to build something, even though we've been a program for 8 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So I find this, I find leadership fascinating. Obviously, you're in a leadership role, but you're also creating leaders, right?
Yeah.
So, and part of that is this team building, this sense of family. How do you? I guess I'm interested as a coach, and you've been coached, you've coached a lot. How do you balance out this kind of? I guess what I would say that these learning of certain kind of lifelong skills and virtues, and dealing with winning and losing. So I'm always fascinated because I to be honest with you, I hear Mariah from I go out and raise money. C-level people often will say, I love to hire student athletes. And they have reasons for that, but I'm interested in your sense of as you say, I want them to be a family, but they walk away with certain life skills that make them very attractive as people who can lead in a community, who can be good teammates, not on a lacrosse team, but on a accounting team or whatever they decide to do. So maybe you talk a little bit about how you balance that, because it feels like that's all going on at the same time, and a head coach's job is to kind of set that tone.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in your thoughts on that because it's so important.
I completely agree. Like I said, I had such a great relationship and still do with my college coach. I truly think she's like made me the person I am, made me want to stay in lacrosse as much as I have. And so because I had that experience, I very much so want to replicate that for my student athletes. And so I would say like a large piece of my coaching philosophy also is the relationship building. And it's getting to know the student athletes outside of the game, right? Constantly the girls are in my office and I don't push them out because like I want them to feel like they can come to me for things. I think all of the girls, I'll say all young adults, want to develop themselves as leaders, want to become strong individuals. They just might not know how. And so I think my job as a coach is really to like, obviously like correct the right and wrong, and like compliment, reward when they are doing the correct thing. But really I do think it's just largely like being there for them, and helping kind of shape in that sense. myself and my assistant, we have like our typical captains, our 4 captains on the team. But this year we've also added what we're calling like a leadership council, which is just other people that maybe didn't get like the captain votes, but that we see as like emerging leaders on the team. And so we've been doing a lot of work with that group as well as the captains, in just kind of like sharpening the leadership skills and not even just like leadership skills, but like good teammate skills. And I think having that group, I think it's about 8 on that council, and being able to like go spread that out on the team, I think it makes all the difference.
Yeah, it's great. I love that. I do love that.
I love listening to you talk about that. I remember talking to you about these things when you were going through the process of applying for the job and stuff. It's really cool to see that you have this vision and a way of understanding like community, and you experienced it too.
Yeah.
You still have to talk to us about like
Sure.
that, but I want to ask you something
Okay.
one other question. How so you have all these like great like approaches to it that you're bringing into it, but we also have this community of coaches at Lewis who are very experienced, some of whom are extremely experienced and successful at both leadership, developing leaders as well as academic and athletic success. So I'm just wondering, like, how have you talked to them or tried to, pick up some knowledge from them, that has to do more with duration and sustaining a program over a long period of time.
Yeah, I think that was like one of the biggest things. I guess when I was here as an assistant, but then interviewing for the head position as well, something I was very aware of, how many coaches have been here for a long time and have been winning for a long time. And so I do like any piece of information I see or I hear, even if it's just like a small conversation in passing from some of those coaches, I take that in and I really do remember it. Jen Jancek has also, we've kind of created a little breakfast club of the women head coaches and herself. And
she's our chief woman administrator is the official strange title in NCAA, and our head athletic trainer.
Yeah, and so she's been awesome. We get together at least once a month, if not a little bit more often. And the beginning is just like, small talk and stuff, but then we do get to like the, I guess, bigger topics of how to continue to develop our teams and all the culture stuff. And so I think it's a really nice way too to like, I guess it's kind of like forced. I get to ask these people all these questions, but I really do. I enjoy that time, and I find it really valuable.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's great. So tell me about, or tell the community about the season. So kind of, I know it's very early, very early, and you're kind of playing in the snow now and all, but we've had a couple nice days. Tell me about the season from your perspective. Kind of how do you, what are the goals for the season? How have you felt about, the first match, first, couple opportunities, and where you see the team right now and where you hope it develops by the end, where you want to be in terms of the conference and that kind of stuff?
Sure. Felt really great so far. We had a scrimmage on Sunday, and our first game was Tuesday. Both games were 20-some to just a couple, 1 or 2 goal wins. So that was really great. Good confidence boost for the girls. We do go out to Concordia St. Paul, as was said earlier, tomorrow. That'll definitely be more of a test to see what the team can really do. But I really do. I've been telling the girls this since week 3, week 2. I think this is the best the team has looked since I've been here. I know since the program has started. I think not just in skill-wise and athleticism, but like in truly like wanting to do better for the person next to you out there. And so I think like because we have that extra piece of it, not just the skill piece, I think the tougher games are going to be a lot easier. We're going to want to work harder for each other out there. And so I think we're at a really, really good spot, and I'm excited to see what happens tomorrow. Bigger picture goals, I would say it's definitely to make that conference tournament. I think it's very feasible for us. We came in at the preseason ranking at 5 for our conference, and so we're just 1 away. It's very, very doable, and I think this will be the year we get it.
Yeah, it's a great goal, and it is a great conference. So that is a great goal. Talking about going to St. Paul reminded me that people may not know, like, how does that work?
Our travel.
Like, how do you get there, and how long in advance do you leave, and all that kind of stuff?
Depending on the trips, we will travel. I always say our average trip is probably 4 to 6 hours. Just with Division II, there's not as many schools for lacrosse. I'm sure other sports are different. But yeah, so we'll drive up early tomorrow. I've sectioned us out so that we can get to the hotel with like an hour to kind of stretch, get your legs loose, and then we'll head over to the field for a 6 o'clock game, and then we'll stay the night there. One of my sophomores' parents lives in the area, so we're gonna go to her house for dinner, which will be exciting. Yeah,
that's so nice of them to host.
Yes, very nice. I have one of my juniors is hosting next week when we go to Northern Michigan. So
That's
yeah,
great.
really, really nice of the parents. The girls obviously love it too. They get to show that to their house, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would say just depending on the time of day, time of game, most of those longer trips we will do. I would prefer to go the night before. That way we wake up, we're not have the long bus ride.
Yeah.
But with this one, I think didn't want to miss class more than we needed to, obviously.
Yeah, and it would be a really long drive back at 8 o'clock at night.
Yes,
leaving from
exactly.
there.
Exactly. So yeah, it just depends on game time, but most our bus drives away.
Yeah, and it's you know, this was one of the sports that I really wanted to start. At the last university I was president at, we started lacrosse. Started here, you know, it's my 10th year, so second year we kind of started hiring the coaches and recruiting, and so I must say, grateful to you and your leadership and your willingness to take on the head coaching role. But I do think it's really matured here, you know, over the years, and I'm excited about that kind of, because the GLVC is a tough conference. So, you know, gradually moving up to we're a place that people have to watch out for and have to pay attention to on the schedule. Could you talk to me about that I mean, you've kind of said some of this, but I'm interested in whether you're the kind of coach that I know coaches who, for lack of a better word, circle certain dates on their schedules, right? And they start talking to their athletes about, you know, even though we got 4 games between now and then, and every coach is like, we're just focused on this game.
Yeah.
There are some coaches who circle 2 dates on the schedule and say, this is going to tell us something about how good we really are.
Yeah.
Do you have that, and how do you work that into, I don't know if it's the post-practice or the pre-practice or just conversations you're having as 3 or 4 of the student athletes are stopping into your office. So I'm just interested in how that plays, or do you kind of like, it's definitely in my head, but I don't communicate it to the students because I don't want them to be thinking any differently about it.
I think it's definitely that second option. Okay. It's definitely in my head. We're such a young team. I think I have 22 or 23 between just my freshman and sophomore classes. And so because we're young, a lot of my sophomores did see some good playing time last year, but a lot of them haven't really had the college experience yet. And so I really do want them to just focus on the here and now. I think for us as a coaching staff too, it's about developing our own team to our best of our own abilities, not necessarily based on what we're going to face in the future. So yeah, at this point, I would say we're definitely focused on becoming
tomorrow
a better team ourselves, and we're playing Concordia tomorrow. Yes,
that's fair. It's totally fair.
Yeah.
But I just know that for some people, that's like, you know,
I think at some point I could get to that, but I think right now, like I said, the team is really young. We need to put our best foot forward every day.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're focused on.
Awesome. So could you tell us a little bit about like where you're from and
Sure.
and where, you know, how did you get into lacrosse, and what like if you want to talk about other sports you played like basketball.
So I grew up 30 minutes from here, Frankfort, Illinois. I went to Lincoln Way East High School. My parents are still there. Grew up there. I played basketball. I played a lot of sports all my life, never lacrosse until college, which I'll get to. But basketball is like my sport throughout high school, but I wasn't very good. I rode the bench. So I knew like basketball wasn't for the future. My brothers had both played lacrosse. I have one who's a year older than me and then one who's 4 years younger than me. And they had both played since middle school or before. I had never had any interest for whatever reason. I was kind of doing my own thing. And then my brother, like I said, he was a year older than me. He ended up going to Illinois Wesleyan to play lacrosse. It was the boys' inaugural season his freshman year. The year after that was going to be the girls' inaugural season. So my brother had been there. The women's coach that they hired, Lindsay Keller, like I said, really respect her still to this day. She was just looking for athletes to join the team. And so my brother there was like, you should come, you should try it out.
That's
and
amazing.
I was like, I don't know. Thankfully I did. I gave it a shot and haven't looked back since.
That's amazing.
So were you offensive or defensive player, midfield?
I started as a defender because I didn't know how to throw and catch the ball. But then by my senior year, I was more of a midfielder,
Okay, yeah.
Wow. And so it's just sort of like we never say things are natural talents, but that's
Sure.
pretty fast learning
Yeah.
curve to get.
Like I said, with the defense, there was a lot of basketball translations. So,
So
like
you knew how to,
that
like you had a
clicked.
sense of place on the
Yes.
field that went to.
I also, my freshman year, I was out with a stress fracture in my fibula for the whole season, and so as much as it sucked, I do think I learned a lot standing on the sideline
It
watching.
probably helped with coaching
Yes.
too, right?
And and hearing everything the coaches were saying. I think that like then once I got the opportunity to be back in, I had like learned so much just from standing there and watching everything else that
That's
picked it up pretty quick, I guess.
that's very cool.
And so where do you see, again, I still think lacrosse is again, relatively young sport. We've seen women's flag football take off. Where do you think, or I mean, this is ignorance, is there a professional women's lacrosse kind of set of leagues somewhere? I know there's a lot in Canada. Canada is a strong lacrosse country. And I know that the East Coast has a strong kind of legacy of
Yes.
lacrosse. But I'm interested in, because, sometimes we have other coaches on, and we'll have athletes maybe that play basketball and they go over to Europe and play.
Okay.
They're not playing in the NBA, but they're
Right.
playing in the European leagues. So are there, do you have like either, teammates or people who played, the Carolinas have some great lacrosse on the D1 level. Is there places that people play afterwards, or is it more like adult club or what,
There is a professional league, not very many teams, so
Yeah.
it's really like the best of Division I plays it. I hope one day that can expand because obviously I love the sport so much.
Yeah.
I'd love to see people be able to continue to play it.
Right.
But yeah, I'd say it's a lot of adult leagues. I still play in the adult leagues every summer.
Okay.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's unfortunately not quite. There's not like the overseas like basketball
Yeah.
has for lacrosse.
And are the leagues you play in, is that a Chicago-based league? Is it more of a travel adult league, or are there enough? This is partly just me again, ignorance.
Yeah.
Are there enough athletes in Chicagoland that you can get a good season in
Yeah.
by not even leaving Chicagoland,
Yeah.
or do you got to go to other places?
Chicago does have a league that I played in once. Not as many as you would have thought being in the city, but the one I play in every summer is in Naperville, and
Okay.
there's plenty of girls. They do 18 and up, so you just
Yeah.
have to be graduated from high school. So a lot of like kids come back from college, and then me and my
Right.
friends who are in our upper 20s are still coming back
Yeah.
and playing too.
That's
But
great.
yeah, it's
That's
fun.
really
It's
cool.
very fun.
Yeah.
It's very fun. Yeah.
And is there discussion in the community about the Olympics and that becoming an Olympic sport, or is it totally different?
Yeah, I would say like that's unfortunately not like what we, I guess, have really much say over.
yeah.
I'm
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But does the community aspire to
Yeah, that's-
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Yeah, that's
but
what
just-
Yeah,
I've just
I
been
mean,
hearing.
2028
Yeah,
women's
I
lacrosse
think
will be. It's a little bit different format.
Yeah, it's like 7 on
sixes,
7 or
yeah,
6s,
With
okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I mean, kind of like everyone's a midfielder. So it's not exactly the game we play like in the college level or the high school level, but it's still something, which is huge. Yeah.
Interesting.
But the stick skills and all of that, that's what you carry
Yes,
forward, right? Even
exactly.
if some of the
Oh, for sure.
configurations
Yeah.
are different, you got
It's
all
so
that.
great to see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. That's great.
Well, thank you so much. We're running out of time, but it's
Of
been a
course.
pleasure to talk with you, and good luck with the season.
Thank
and
you.
Yeah, Mariah, let's keep the I think you said it was 23-2.
Yeah.
That's one thing I love about lacrosse. No, I'm not referring to any other sports, but there's constant scoring.
There
Yes.
is. There's constant scoring.
Well,
which
with
is
the
great.
shot clock that was added to,
Yeah.
you kind of have to.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's really
No,
like,
it's very
it does,
fun.
they
So-
are really. We didn't say this. Please, everyone, come out and watch.
Please come
Absolutely,
out, yes.
come out and watch. It's
Yeah.
a really fascinating. Even if you've never watched it, it's fast.
Yeah.
It's exciting. There's a lot of scoring. So I'm just saying maybe the whole rest of the season, like double-digit victories, is
I
where we're
don't
going
see
for,
why
right?
not,
We're
yeah.
like two
Just
matches
extrapolate.
in.
We may as well.
2 matches in, and we're in like the 19 and 20
Yeah.
range. So
I'm in. I'm good.
Looks easy.
awesome. That's
I'll let the girls know.
yeah, let them know. That's the level of expectation. No, not at all. Well, thanks again,
Thank you for
Mariah.
having
It's been
me.
great to have you. We wish everybody a really great weekend. It's been wonderful to be with you today. Many blessings to you and all those that you love.